Greetings and welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Poly Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto, and we're back in school. It's show and tell right before recess, and we get our milk and cookies. We're going to do a little bit of show and tell. If you were at InfoComm 23 a couple of weeks ago, you probably saw this product already, so you can turn this off and watch us next week, and we appreciate you taking the time. But if you weren't, we announced one of our new products is the StudioX52. It's going to be a new video bar, and I have my good friend Tony Intrabartolo here on with me to talk about what it is and show and tell, and repeat some of the wonderful things he said to all the people that walked up to our booth at InfoComm. So, Tony, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us.
Well, thanks, Dave. And I think one other thing we're proving here is I commit to my office, and my entire office looks just like my other background does. I am a true nerd. But thanks for having me. So we are really excited about the X52. This is mine sitting here. We had a huge response at InfoComm for this product. So let me give you kind of a quick overview. So this is actually the X52, our new video bar. A couple, kind of next generation things on it. One, we have a huge 20 megapixel camera on it, which really the images are stunning off of this unit. Probably the other big news is we have a whole new system on a chip. We've kind of upgraded our processing power by leaps and bounds. Still have the fully integrated speaker bar, and we still have the fully integrated mics. We have the fully integrated speakers. Simple connection. One of the other things we've added is this actually supports Wi-Fi version 6, which is something we've got a lot of requests for as people are moving to the next generation. The good news is, we announced it last week. This should be shipping by the second week of July. So we're big fans of, we don't like to announce things so you can actually buy them. But huge set, and by the way, it won a Best of Show award at InfoComm. So we're pretty excited. I've had mine for a little while, and I'm glad I can finally talk about it publicly.
Yeah, so let me ask you a couple of things, because I think I know a lot of the talking points for the system, but I may get some of them wrong. So you're here to correct me and keep me honest. First of all, what we've done is we've changed a little bit of the viewing angle, right? The view angle it's not so much edge to edge, because we're not pushing people up against the walls as much anymore nowadays. Now we want to get a little further into the room. Is that right?
Right. It's actually a smaller cone of view, because that way we can better optimize the distance. But it's trying to get everybody wide-wise. And with the new optics and the new sensors, we actually have kind of jumped in our capabilities of tracking. One thing that we've added to this unit that will be coming to our other units as well is this concept of perimeter. So a lot of the people out there, dealing with glass walls, everybody's favorite thing on the planet, we're doing things like exclusion zones. So what that meant is they would just say, don't track anybody on this side of the room. Well, you lost people in the room. We've gone the next step with perimeter. We actually set, basically, we tell codec this many feet this way, this many feet this way, and then the tracking will take over. I wish I could demo this to you, but if you saw it at InfoComm, we literally had in the booth on a table that was right next to the aisle, and if you stepped past that carpet, it stopped tracking you. And when you step back in, it started. So think about glass walls, right? It's not going to track those people going across the glass walls, or track reflections and maybe on the glass on the other side. So once again, I highly suggest get around and see one of these units, because the tracking is outstanding, and we're taking that, and we're also going to bring a lot of that to all of our tracking products like the E70 or the X70.
And it's interesting. I remember really bad architectural designs of 20 and 30 years ago, where they would put a conference table in the middle of a cafeteria, or at this one side of a cafeteria, and there'd be like 5 of them next to each other, and there'd be a speakerphone on each one. And I had to try and explain to them why that wouldn't work. Not just because of the noise of the cafeteria, but because of the conference phones on each other's table. It was a disaster. But now, technically, we actually could do that. We could set this camera up on a table that holds 6, 12, whatever people in a big open room, and say, just pick up the audio from this much, just pick up the video from this much, and it would do the job.
Yeah, we were already in there with our acoustic fence and our acoustic capabilities. So now we've kind of taken a lot of that and put it to the cameras. So we're really trying to get to the point where you can kind of define, for lack of a better term, the effective conference area of one of our systems, right? So if you want to be part of that meeting and have the best experience, you need to be in this space. We don't need to put walls there, but that's what we're trying to get to. We're seeing a lot more of the huddle spaces, a lot more of the shared spaces. So we really had to kind of look at, how do we make our systems work better in those open spaces or huddle type spaces.
And it was just about 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, when we first introduced the StudioX30 and the StudioX50, which was one of the first video bars with codecs built in that were compatible across a broad range of platforms, including.
It's really amazing how many people forget that we did this first.
Right.
So
So now what we saw as we walked around Infocom, again, nothing against our competitors. There's a whole bunch of companies that are introducing their first generation of video bars 4 years later. And what we've got now is the one that's got this kind of power, this kind of perimeter sensing, and also that level of compatibility, native compatibility across more platforms than anybody else could even think of.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the good news is it's certified for Zoom, certified for Teams, and now also can work on Google. As well as a lot of the other platforms. But one thing I think that we really excel upon, and probably while I'm the Zoom guy, it's cool that we really are agnostic. We make the best products to work on what platform you organization-wise have decided to be on.
So I know that in order to get all the features of that bar when it comes out, it's going to need to be linked to the new firmware, which is 4.1. I'm not sure when that's coming out, but that's got a whole bunch of
So
new features
this
as
unit
well,
will
right?
ship with 4.1.
Okay.
But 4.1 will not be generally for all the products till a little while after. But
Okay.
this will come out of the factory with 4.1.
And any other cool features that are coming in 4.1?
Oh, gee. Put me on the spot there. Well, probably one of the things I'm most excited about is basically the ability to hook an E70 directly to your G7500 just using a Cat6 cable, right? So step one of doing sort of network, but think about this, no more USB extenders, right? Or adapters or whatever you need. You simply can run a Cat6 cable from the back, what we call the LN port on the G7500 straight to the codec. It'll power it, all video, audio control over that. I've been running mine like that for a while. It's a game changer, especially for integrators, right? You don't have to think about that extra USB extension.
That's great. And there'll be a lot of other features, and I'm going to have our friend Jan on the show in a couple of weeks as soon as the software comes out, so he can do his typical walkthrough of 50 or 60 slides to show us.
I don't want to take all of his thunder. He's got some great stuff.
That's awesome. Tony, I appreciate you giving us a little bit of the show and tell. We're really looking forward to getting our hands on it. Obviously, you'll be able to see these. I've been hearing from some of my colleagues at the Poly Experience Centers that they've got them. They're in the process of hooking them up and testing them and working with them, but they're sort of there. So certainly reach out to your HP Poly representatives. Make sure that you have one. Go take a look at it. Go play with it. Go get a feel for it. We'll have you back on in a few weeks when we've got it all up and running and out of beta to show everybody what the shots look like. And we were showing it at the show, but we're just not equipped to do it right now for this quick call.
It's not much fun. I don't have like 200 people going past the aisles and it not tracking.
Hey, I've got a picture of me taking a picture of me in it.
I think you have a picture of you taking a picture of me holding the 50 at the. There's some weird like.
Exactly. Yes, you were my B-roll, but now we've added the audio. Although you're using not using one of our microphones, so you're a little tinny right now, but it's perfectly good for our webcast. If anybody wants to reach out to you and ask you more questions about this or anything else, how would they do that?
Tony Intrabartolo at hp.com is probably the quickest way.
Oh, look at the logo popping up right in time. What a perfect timing.
I'd love to say I timed that, but every once in a while that that perfect accident happens on film.
Oh well, now it disappears, so it's playing a video.
Well,
oh well.
By the way, you still do digital signage through it as well, which is fun thing.
Tony, thank you very much for.
Oh, and Dave, isn't it your birthday? So this old turtle coming up kind of works too.
Well, when we were recording this, it was my birthday, but obviously we're not recording this in the U.S. on July 3rd. It's sort of a quasi-holiday before Independence Day here, so we're putting this one in the can a little bit in advance. But Tony, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this, giving us the show and tell. For anybody who hasn't seen the StudioX52, for all of my colleagues at HP and Poly, I'm David Danto. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for taking the time and being with us.